I'm Zane Van Gogh, and you're watching Minding Your Business. But on today's episode, we will be minding your finances because, like I always say, what we focus on grows. Now, as you may or may not know, outside of this platform and my position as a business development consultant, I talk heavily about wealth generation as an individual investor because financial freedom is a must, especially in the Black and Brown communities, and it can be obtainable when you have the proper tools and guidance to navigate you forward despite your income. And if you're interested in learning more, you can follow my Instagram below. And of course, before we get started, be sure to like this video if you find any value and consider subscribing as well as turning on your bell notifications to be alerted of future videos. So earlier today, I was watching an episode on CNBC's Make It, which is a show about how people earn, spend, and save their money. And I came across a very interesting story of a guy named Marquise McKenzie, who's 32 years old. He has a family of 3, and he makes $150,000 per year. I'm assuming before tax, which is important to note. But what caught my attention most outside of his backstory was his budget, and a particular statement he made while breaking down his budget that I want to cover in today's video. But first, let me show you a quick clip.
So when I talk about my lifestyle and my expenses that I take care of, and including my family as well, which is my 3 kids, and then a lot of stuff that I do for the community, and then also running a small business, I'm just be transparent. It's been very hard to even try to think about saving. The total that we're paying for our apartment is roughly close to $1,800 a month. For our cell phone bills, we have about 7 lines on that account, including smartwatches. It fluctuates between $700 close to $800 a month. A lot of my expenses go towards food, and that's either buying groceries for the house or because I'm on the move every day, just honestly eating out. I could spend close to $100, a day on food if I don't decide to eat at home.
And the other details mentioned that I want to lay out is that Marquise was formerly incarcerated, which is a huge part of his story from admitting his past faults and trying to turn his life around. I recommend watching his full story, which I will link below. However, he also took out a $1,500 loan against his 401k, leaving a current balance under $3,000. In addition, he's paying $1,300 a month on a mortgage, which he plans to use for transitional housing for returning citizens. And before we get into this budget, I would like to commend him for taking control of his life, finding purpose, and creating a pathway for others who have walked that same walk and not falling victim to the barriers that comes with being formerly incarcerated. Because according to recent studies, over 80% of all people who were once incarcerated return back. So again, big ups to him because this definitely takes a lot of courage, and I know it's not easy. Now, while looking at his monthly budget, a few things stood out for me, from his discretionary expenses to that car note, phone bill, and how much money is being spent on food between grocery shopping and eating out. Also, the amount that's going towards his debt repayment and savings account raised a red flag as well, because the goal should always be to pay that down as quickly as possible while having enough money tucked away for emergencies and to start working in the background by opening an investment account. But most importantly, he mentioned that he doesn't have a lot of money to save because it's going towards the business. And this is what I want to address, because I often come across people who claim they either don't have enough money to save or they don't make enough money to save. But saving as well as investing doesn't really have anything to do with your income, but rather your spending habits, because wealth isn't defined based on how much money you make. It's defined based on how much money you keep. And with that, you have to gain discipline over your finances, because we cannot pass along generational wealth by accumulating debt. See, some of us have this mindset that we can simply earn our way out of debt by making more money, but the only way to beat debt and to gain true financial freedom is by savings, which trickles down to our spending habits. If we aren't prioritizing paying off debt to generate financial freedom, then we'll never be truly freed. And when you aren't truly freed, neither will the next generation that you're trying to build up. Now, when it comes to finding money to save and or to invest, is by using a big B word that many of us hate as it pertains to managing our finances, which is a budget. I know. Many people have a negative connotation when it comes to budgeting, with attaching words such as failure, guilt, or even broke. But let me be the one to tell you, the the wealthiest people on this earth have a budget, and they got to where they are financially because of it. Budgeting is the bridge between where you are today from where you can be tomorrow along your financial journey. It's less about restricting what you can and cannot afford, but more so raising awareness on how you are spending your money so you don't spend all of it and can meet your financial goals successfully. Now, in Marquis' case, just like with many others, it may seem like there's not enough money to be saved, but in actuality, there is. Let me show you and break it down. By taking a look at this budget, I want to tackle each category except for his housing and utilities expenses, as well as his ATM withdrawals for now. When I'm assisting others with their budgets, I'm able to ask more detailed questions to understand the true purpose of each expense, because every dollar that's entering and exiting your bank account should have a purpose. But since his budget is pretty much generalized, let's start with the biggest expense aside from his housing and utilities, which is his discretionary expenses. Now, your discretionary expenses are non-essential expenses that you can live without. Discretionary expenses are generally spent on clothing, entertainment, grooming, home improvement purchases, etc. Again, while we don't know the breakdown of each payment, this monthly expense can easily be deducted by 70 to 75%, bringing his budget down between $900 to $750, which is very reasonable, while saving between $2,100 to $2,250. And next, his car payment. His car payment is his second largest expense at about $2,000 per month, aside from his housing and utilities. And typically, the two biggest expenses in most people's lives would be on property and or a vehicle. However, anytime your vehicle payments are higher than the amount of money that you're paying each month into your savings and investment accounts, there's a problem. And it's a bigger problem when your vehicle payments are more than or equivalent to your rent or mortgage payments. Like, I would strongly suggest for him to trade in this vehicle immediately, as would any financial advisor, because no matter if you have warranty or not, maintaining a Mercedes or any foreign luxury vehicle comes at a high expense, especially as you're in the building stages of your financial journey and is the main breadwinner. Like, it's a lot I can say about this, but at the end of the day, it's all about your priorities. And as I always tell people, to never let material possessions hold you back from obtaining financial freedom. Like, it would be wiser for him to purchase a cash vehicle or a vehicle with a note of $500 or less, which would save him about another $1,500. While driving around in a Mercedes may seem like a flex, and I understand when you work hard, you want to be able to reward yourself, but with rewarding yourself, we have to be smart, because the bigger flex is when you don't have to pay a cent out of pocket because you use one of your cash producing assets to pay for it outright, or maybe you decide to purchase it under your business from a cash producing asset while writing off the expenses. I mean, it's just a thought. Next, his phone and food bill, which both averages about $800 per month. Simply with his phone bill, I would eliminate at least 2 or 3 lines, being the Apple Watches, which will cut out at least $230 to a little over $240 each month. It's just excessive to have 7 phone lines right now. And with his food bill, that could be cut in half by reducing the urge to eat out as often, while considering meal prepping during the top of each week and shopping in bulk, such as Sam's Clubs, Costco's, or BJ's, which are very plentiful in his area. So you can see, by just combing through your finances and eliminating expenses that doesn't serve you or help with accomplishing your goals to be on better footing, then you'll realize that you may have more money to work with than you originally thought. With this quick exercise, he could save a little over $4,200 per month, which can add up to over $50,000 per year to go towards paying down his debt and building a healthy financial foundation to put aside for savings as well as investing. He can also put aside even more depending on what he's willing to give up. The more disciplined the budget, the quicker you will see results. See, the beautiful thing about money is that it's just a tool. You can either use it to build yourself up financially, or you can let it tear you down. But just know that you hold the power to make that choice. And as we close out, please be sure to hit that thumbs up button if you found any value in today's video. And let me know in the comments if you would like for me to do a part 2 of me breaking down a personal budget, or if you would like to see more content on personal finance in the future. Until next time, I'm out.